And that is the perfect way to start our EROAD Live, to start this event. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our coverage of round 4 of the Bosch Motorsport Australia Rally Championship. This is the middle of everywhere rally, and that literally just down the way behind us, Dean, is the start of stage 1. Harry Bates and Coral Taylor, championship leaders right now, just coming through.
Carnival 1, yeah, we get to see a bit of spectating here, and of course this is an endurance round, round 4. We're literally at the halfway mark. We're just over now as they do a first few kilometres through here. Stage 1, about 15 kilometres. Lots to play out over this next couple of days.
All brought to you, this event, by BSR Automotive too, so we thank them for their support. Pedders Rally Central, only a couple of Ks down the road in Hayfield. We're closer to Traralgon, about 200 Ks from Melbourne. So this is Victoria. The next car we're about to see, Scott Pedder, had a breakthrough first win in 10 years in this sport, last time out in Queensland. The reason I bring him up, not just because he's car 2, he knows the roads in this part of the world, doesn't he? This is Victoria, it's home turf for him.
Yeah, and not so much Australian Rally Championship. When I competed against him when he was doing the ARC, we were in a different part of Victoria.
When he was younger.
But he did it when he was younger, and I think he loves the roads and things. It was his little comeback run last year. And the thing to correct there, it sounds like he hasn't won for 10 years. He hadn't been driving nearly for 10 years.
That's fair.
So to come back... he used this as the test event, and this stage last year particularly, you know, he sort of dominated in a way and come out of nowhere, and I think that's what set the scene for what he wanted to try and do. Do I make a comeback? What support would I get from the company and the brand? And even over our shoulder, we've got a VIP tour for the Pedders group who have really got behind the program as well. So.
Quite still this morning. It's cool, but not too bad. The sun is creeping through, but the dust between cars has cleared. Enjoy, Scott. Here he comes with Glenn McNeil. And I reckon immediately you can notice a slight up in the tempo, the way he's attacking in that car relative to Harry Bates.
Harry looked pretty clean. Scott, I thought, broke a little early. He took a bit of inside curb near the Pedders VIPs, but he was tucked in very tight on the exit, so got a good exit. I mean, we're splitting hairs here. I mean, these two have been dominating all year, realistically. I mean, we said yesterday at the start, they've won 90% of the stages between them. So to build a championship, you've got to nail that down. They've both had some issues during the year, and they've sort of both kept the door open for each other. And this round will be so important. And it's not just lock away the points on Saturday. You've got to continue that through to Sunday. The difficult part for me is how do you pick and what tempo do you go? I don't think they'll both know until you get to the end of stage 1. You'll have a plan and where you'd like to be, and you'd like to, of course, lead. But you have this feeling as a driver when you get to stage 1 and you see the results. If you're up, you'll be like, oh, that's good. I've got a little bit more in me or not. If you're not up and you don't know there's much left, you're like, oh my goodness, what can we do about this? How could we combat that? So I think there'll be a big reset once they know the times at the end of this stage on how they'll both be sitting, how they're feeling, and what the strategy might be for the couple of days.
Don't forget too, at the end of each day, Saturday and Sunday, we have our highlights program, which wraps things up for you. You can find that on the website, rally.com.au/TV. We'll have regular updates on our social media channels for you as well. The Wellington Council and the people of the Gippsland region have really, in recent years, embraced this event, and it's gone to another level this year. So if you have a little look, there's people all lined on the far side of the corner there. Just down the road, there is a coffee cart and all sorts of things. Here we go, third car launching into stage.
Lewis Bates and Anthony McLaughlin after, of course, that crash in Queensland. This is their opening stage. He'd be nervous off the line.
So if you didn't see our EROAD Live last night when we caught up with him, he's quite happy about the fact that he's been able to test this car more than once in the lead-up. A lot of repair work from the Bates Motorsport team, and they've done a very good job, haven't they?
Massive amount of work. I mean, these cars are hard enough to maintain, let alone fix on the run there. So they're busy, and of course the Toyota program with 86s, they've have a massive couple of weeks. That's a positive start. I think that's a good. You can see the intent. He broke hard and firm. But you saw how he's just not quite as sideways on the entry. He's just being a little, but that's his style as well. He's not quite as exuberant as probably
Precision.
Harry. But I think that's a positive start. And see that corner there, depending how he apex, he took a whole heap of dirt up on the inside there. So there's obviously going to be a little bit of a line created there, and there's sort of a little gutter on the exit. No drama, but scooped a bit of dirt up as well. But that's a positive run, but you can see he's a little more precise on the way that he sets it up. Harry's a little more sideways or confident or exuberant in the way that your style works. But to be honest, some roads suit that as well. But I thought that's not a bad start. You know, it wasn't too tentative, he didn't have 2 bites at the brake pedal or anything like that, which you'll start to see as you dribble down the field. They'll have a couple of goes, and of course it's the first run off the start. So
worth recapping for our audience too, if you didn't see our EROAD live last night from Sale, that this is a different style of event, more of an endurance aspect to it, if you will. You've got to buy a ticket to Sunday's competition. We've got remote servicing tomorrow to consider as well too, don't we?
Yeah. And the other thing about that is it's not only the points thing. Normally on the heat series, you lock away the points on Saturday and we reset for Sunday, which sort of makes it almost like having 2 races. The other part of being an element of endurance is that you only get a 45-minute service on Saturday. In a normal Super Series or Heat Series, you get 2 hours. So you can't really be dealing with a problem for too long. So
here we go, next car. Eddie Maguire on the podium in Queensland at the last round, and the word that immediately springs to mind there is flamboyant. Boy, he attacked there, didn't he?
He had it fairly crossed up on that left hand and hooked it in. And that's the thing, that's those little bits offline. You know, the first car, Harry clears a bit of a pass. Second car's a little bit loose. There'll be a line created, but stepped out in the back and he had it cranked in for sure on that left-hander.
We thought we'd do things a little bit different for you today. In the past, we've been stopping to interview drivers at the end of stage or the start of stage and so on. We want to let you soak up and enjoy the cars on stage. The Subaru Results Hub as a part of our rally.com.au website is where you go for all the latest results.
I was hoping to get some results myself out here. It's both range and maybe stage times. Like I said, this is about 14 or 15 kilometres, so you probably expect to maybe be 7 or 8 minutes down the track, and we'll hopefully get some results and give that to you. But it is quite cool to see the cars live and out here on the stage. If you can't be out here spectating on a beautiful day, expect things to be on EROAD Live. So.
Championship has really tightened up too. We're in the second half now. We have South Australia, the fast roads there, and Tasmania to come. It's going to be good, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think Tassie's also an endurance round as well. You put Adelaide Hills Rally in there, that goes back to the heat format, and they are the bit I do love about the Australian Championship and why I think we can go overseas and compete on the roads. And to mention Taylor Gill, who did a fantastic job to win juniors in Finland.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
It's because of the fact that we have such diverse and different roads. We're such a big country. Perth's very different to Queensland. It's very different to here. So you have to adapt to different skill sets. So what Victoria will be like, roads are very different, as you said, fast roads, Shire roads of Adelaide, and then finishing with a new event in Burnie and Tassie, which will be a great way to finish it. New for everybody that round.
Here we go. So that's Alex Rouleau with Steve Glennie beside him, and he's attacking there too.
He's got some commitment coming out. Alex. This particular section last year went the wrong way, so he's much better up on his splits already through there. And some reports, so we don't have times ourselves, but a message from our group. It looks like Harry 3.7 seconds up on Scott on the first split.
Okay. So
that's not the stage, but 3.7, so that's a positive start for Harry for sure.
And a little reminder too that what we love about rallying is the way that they hurl the cars, throw the cars through a sequence of corners like this. But it does come back to that old adage of motor racing about tidy and precision often delivering the quicker time, doesn't it?
And the thing is, it's everyone's style's a little different. You can be spectacular and aggressive, and you can get away with being a little looser on some of that stuff. If you're being precise, and we sort of talked Lewis Bates there, you have to be precise. Your mid-corner speed's got to be good. You've got to execute very well. And even off the exit here, we couldn't quite probably see because of the media on this side. But even you've got, I could sort of see that Alex's car gets a little loose in the back. He's quite aggressive on the throttle on the way you stand through. And a lot of these cars, they're all turbocharged cars. They'll have anti-lag. That's sort of when you're off the power, you can hear this popping and banging. It means that the turbo's charged up and ready on positive boost, and that changes the way. Some people have it very aggressive, some people don't. So the cars are very lively and ready. They don't like mid-throttles. It's not like a supercar where you see the guys sort of bleed the throttle on and then get straight and then floor it. These are almost like a light switch. You come in, you brake, you turn, and then the car wants full throttle. So it's very much, you see the engineers talk about the graph being up or down or across. There's none to sort of float through and progressive on the throttle.
What's your observations of Alex's progression in 24? We certainly saw glimpses in 23. There's been podiums this year and some good fast stage runs, hasn't there?
It's impressive. He's doing a good job. It's a hard sport to get your head around, that's for sure. Let's have a look. Clayton Hoyer, first of our main fix production cup runners, did a fantastic job in Queensland.
So Mitsubishi Evo, and I think as we detailed last night, and you can already see it, this is going to be, with the race within the race, the battle in that class is going to be fascinating, isn't it?
Well, the likes of a talent like Clayton and then the young up-and-coming chargers that we talk about, and then, a former champion Molly Taylor in all these sort of production cars is awesome to watch. But you can sort of clearly see how the Australian Championship has advanced. And just there also, just the way the car set up, as he took off there, he had to have a little lift on that right-hander, which was flat for all the R5 cars we've seen. So that's just a little different dynamic. You've got a production car turned into a rally car, as opposed to the Skodas, Toyotas, Fords, and that are dedicated rally cars.
Great flashback too. I love the colour scheme on that car, and then emblazoned awesome over the bonnet. Tommy Mackinnon.
Okay, 8:17.7 is Harry's time. So that's the time to beat. We don't have any sort of more times to come through, but that's going to be the benchmark. So I was close, 8-minute stage. It was roughly on the money there.
All right, so we're waiting for the next of the
we're going to have Steve Maguire's heading down there, and what a great job he did. And he's got the blue cars, almost like blue and red amongst the Maguire Motorsport. He now has the blue suit.
Yes, he does.
Which I wondered whether that was already on order or not, but he's actually said, no, actually on the Monday I had the sponsor from Alpha Electrical going, mate, we said we're going to ramp up. It'd be good if it was blue on the podium, so he's got the blue suit, him and Ben Searcy.
Really nice story to have both the Maguires. A bit went on in that rally in Queensland. More results coming through. How's Scott Petter's run?
So he's 9.2 off, so that's probably 3/4 second a K. Scott wouldn't be too, not knowing what's happened, whether any mistakes happen, that's a solid run from Harry, and that would sort of put Scotty to be, okay, I've got to, like I said, he'll now review, okay, did I make a mistake? Was that a good run? Was it a clean run? But that's a great start for Harry.
Great start for Harry, and it kind of counters the argument that if he's going to fight for this championship, do you go conservative? Good start.
Tidy, yeah. And probably not quite as aggressive, but like we said, sometimes tidy, smooth, and as he learns that car, to be honest, if I was running the team, that's what I want to see. Not too crazy, and we're talking like 3 corners. Who knows what they do past us? But that's a good positive start, no mistakes. But you could sort of see he had a little bit of area to room to move if he needed to.
Podium aside, what about his growth and progression for Steve in 24?
Well, it's
big
similar
switch.
to Alex in a way, because Alex started, he come from supercars and went into a production car Evo. Last year, you saw Steve battling it out for production cup against the likes of Bodie Reading, who I think might be sort of close to being on the line. It's a real difference. I haven't driven an R5 car and a Rally 2 car, but they're different to drive from a production car. So you need some time to adapt and get used to that. And I think, to be honest, to get a podium, in the first 3 or 4 rallies of being involved in that car is a pretty good effort, particularly in a tough rally like Queensland.
And the development of those production cup machines, what we've seen from Molly's car and so on. I mean, it's not just the quality of the teams or the driver and co-driver pairings that we're seeing there. It's the quality of the cars too, isn't it?
Oh, and the thing is, because our series was built off production cars for so many years, people know how to build a Mitsubishi or a Subaru fast. It was just sort of the model changes that made the difference, but they knew the diff programs, what sort of power you needed to have from it, what you'd expect from the driver. So they are a very refined car over time. And why, next car up is going to be actually Ryan Williams. He's got what we call a GD Subaru. Molly's in a newer spec. Brodie's in an older spec. So, and there's some different cars around like that, and they can all be quite competitive amongst each other, although they're a little bit different in the way they execute. So.
Quick observation on the state of the roads. I know you're diving for results there. They're in nice shape. Certainly the ones we're seeing at the moment here from a forestry perspective.
Apparently, best condition they've been in for a long time. Watch Ryan, and then we will get to results. You sort of see the way a production car, the effort sort of going into that. You've sort of got to manhandle a little bit more. The suspension travels not as much. You see the car doesn't dip and dive as much, but nice clean run by Ryan through there as well. Okay, that's a Toyota 1-2 so far. So
and only 6.1. Is it 6.1 between?
6.1, and then so that means Scotty's back 3. So that's great for Lewis. That will do his confidence the world of good to be able to sort of go, well, just got in front of Scott Petter on his local road. We don't know whether Scotty had a spin or a mistake or whether that's genuine pace, but to be 6 off your brother, who's in the championship hunt after the big crash, that's a great start.
Keep in mind, we are literally at the start of stage 1. Okay, so the action is just beginning to unfold in this 2-day event right behind us. A lot's going to play out here.
Yeah, and I think the thing for us, we were chatting even amongst ourselves to go, how does Lewis come back from that? I feel like he's a confidence type driver, and I was a little bit worried that he may take off a little slow, but that will do him a world of good. He'll now settle and mean, right, I've got this thing, and he'll be in a good fight. Now, whether he can run with Harry and Scott if that's the way it goes, or does he prop up and become? This round actually was his sort of maiden win and set up his championship. The year he won the championship, it was on this event. He won the power stage against his brother, so maybe the first start of the season might not have worked for him, but there is something about these roads and the back end of the championship that does suit Lewis and Anthony.
Quick little plug too, there's a few social pieces that we put together yesterday that are worth going for a look for, both on our Facebook page and Instagram and so on. A walk around with Dean of the brand new WRX Challenge cars, taking a look at those Subarus that are here this weekend. And then separate to that, goodness knows why, but we let the Luffs loose with some microphones last night. It is very funny. Go and have a look. I love that. That is a great example of maximum attack. As he came through past our Petters guests here, the back right kicked up. He's gone wide off the exit of that corner rather, and used a little bit of the edge of the road. That was awesome.
You've summed it up. And from my point of view, that is an older model GCA, one of the best sounding Subarus, by the way, that people still talk about to this day. You've got to be committed and you get one shot at it. He doesn't have a lot of diff technology in that car. It's all about muscling the car around. And that's why, as you said it quite right, you could see from the start of this shot to the end of that, it was commitment through. It was commitment in the first part. And then you've got to run with it. The reason it tipped up is you've got a little bit of the lip on the inside of the left. Then he's got to throw it in there, and he selected first, and I'm going to use all the bank on the outside. But that's how to muscle a car. It was actually pretty good. And he's a great talent, Bodie. It's great that he had that win, and he was battling Eddie Maguire. So we talked about Steve Maguire. They battled it out. And then I'm sure he looks at it and goes, well, Steve made the podium in an outright sense in an R2 car. He's a great talent. And awesome that he came back after that role, got the championship win, and then for him to be back in the series with the support of the likes of Les Walton rallying and Les Walton himself from Tassie just shows the passion and the support behind him. But yeah, he's a great talent.
Les has done that with a number of drivers, as you well know, over the years, hasn't he? Yeah.
Well, I drove for him for a year. Molly Taylor's driven, Ed Ordinsky, Michael Guest, the list goes on. Even Eli Evans has driven. Simon Evans. Cody Crocker, of course, won in Asia Pacific with Les Walton. So he's been fantastic. We affectionately call him the boss anytime we see him, because I think he's been everybody's boss in the service park. So morning boss, how you going? And he still rocks around and was here at the start. He loves it. So it's fantastic. Recap on the score. So Harry, Lewis, Scott holding third, Alex Rouleau, and then Eddie Maguire. So the gaps are there for the first stage, to be fair.
Now, they joked last night that the car looked a bit like a golf ball because they've had to do some repair work to it after a crash in pre-event running. And when you go looking for that onboard, incidentally, too, a little bit of lady luck in that, because it was a very fast section of road, and the roll it gets out of shape, but it doesn't happen until right at the very end. So it's kind of a soft roll, and they're into it, which is good.
I should have remembered that. He was sledging us last night when they had the microphones. He was making pizza in that car. Did you see him have a go? I think he had the wheels going everywhere. It was like he was flipping a bloody pizza dough. And that's he was trying to gather up and catch the roll. Lucky it was light. And like I said, it's not really affected him too much in that regard.
Clearly. Yeah.
I mean, the other part of that, just another note on the driving style. See, he came in, the crown of the road sort of just lips across to the left there. So as he came in, the car wanted to go, and he had no choice but to run with it. But the confidence was there just to get off, turn it in and go. So he's starting to come really one with that car. And now that we talked early in the season how they're just having a few little niggly reliability issues, which were just hampering their progress, and you just don't get the Ks done. Now that he's banked a couple of results, I think you see this sort of more positive Luff brothers who clearly have some talent.
When you come off an interrupted build-up like that, right? Getting a good, clean run in the first stage, just getting it off your back, that's super important, isn't it?
It is, but I think they also actually had just got their head around it quite quickly. It obviously wasn't one of those things that scared them. Yeah, went a little wide on a fast bit, and I sort of didn't quite gather it up, and it tipped over at the last minute. And the car repair was obviously okay. You know, if there was a few doubts on the mechanical side, that would be a little bit of a concern. But, you know, their language and body language last night, they just brushed it off. Well, the car's already got a few nicks on it. Who cares? We'll give it a bit of a crack and away we go. So, yeah, that's a great car and a great base. They'll go well here.
The overarching message from Tom Clark in the build-up to this weekend. We've got a great a sit-down chat with him that's coming up in our coverage too. He just wants a consistent run here this weekend. He wants to ensure that he gets this car to the finish and to kind of erase some of the stuff that he's had to go through over the past 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, I'm not commenting anymore because I feel like I'm giving him a bad luck run. Look, we love Tom. He loves the sport. He backs it in. You know, it's his company who supported the Production Cup and some of these young guys coming through, so he loves it. I felt like when he'd had the issue with the Ford last year and he stepped into his classic Stanza, I felt like he loved it again a little bit more, and that's what you need. But he, you know, we talked about the Luff brothers and how coming back to that confidence and lack of clean running. That's what we need for Tom Clark.
Definitely.
Just a clean run, maybe back it off a little bit of percent. Don't lose your mojo, but just back it off a bit to get through and be safe. And then he'll explode from there because he's definitely got some talent and pace. So.
I love that car too, and the fact that he continues to campaign it in the championship. But I think you and I left Sale last night wondering what he might do for 2025. I mean, he didn't give us a concrete answer, but it certainly alluded to the fact that would we consider maybe changing it up, knowing that Neil Bates Motorsport have brought those two Rally 2 cars. Do we need to do something different so we're on a level pegging going into 25?
Yeah, it's not like he's a Ford Works driver or something. He chooses that car, and M Sport do a fabulous job in regards to around the world producing a great Rally 2 car. But the new technology coming through in regards to Toyota, regards to the Skodas, etc., is he sitting there going, well, how quick are these cars in outright terms against some of these things? So, like I said, there's just a wry smile. I thought you knew something.
I don't.
But I felt like there was something in it as well. Maybe he's considering his options on that regard. And someone like Luke Kinnear, who'd been fantastic behind the Ford brand, had a taste of a Toyota and quite liked it last round.
That is cool. Very different line on the left-hand side. First coming in, took a much tighter line, Molly Taylor. Again, attack.
Yeah, she would be happy it lipped up a little bit on the hairpin for her, but she actually held it flat through the right, which I sort of said that you could hear Clayton Hoy sort of have a little lift on that. We'll just go through just some times. We're hearing some reports from some of our colleagues that maybe the blue Skoda, and I think they're referring to Steve Maguire, just sounded a little off.
Okay.
He's probably 7th at the moment, 37 behind the lead. So it's Harry Bates, 6.1 to Lewis, Scott Petter just behind that in 3rd, Alex Rouleau, then Eddie Maguire. Eddie's 16 off Harry. Then it's a bit of a jump to Clayton. He's the first, of course, the times of the productions, and then Steve Maguire. So is Steve Maguire having an issue? Not sure. And obviously, once we see a few more production runners come through, we'll get a bit of a steer on how Clayton went.
We're going to wrap it up there for this edition of EROAD Live. A reminder, our highlights coverage every day, rally.com.au/TV. You'll also be able to see it in the weeks ahead on 7+. The Subaru Results Hub on the website.
Yeah,
go there. We're using it literally while we're here on stage for the latest info, and we'll have lots more updates on socials right across both days here for the middle of everywhere rally in the Gippsland region.